Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tom and I make videos that help you awaken your soul and create an extraordinary life. We're live again today. I'm getting more comfortable with this every week. I go live, so I'm just going to set things up, and when people hop on, make sure you can tell me if you can hear me and all that kind of stuff, see me clearly. I'll just pin this comment. And if you're new to my channel, this is a space where light workers, people going through a spiritual awakening journey and path can come. And I'm all about love and light and basically sharing and anchoring that in ourselves and with the world. And so the way these videos are working at the moment is I'm just going to show you some updates that may resonate with your life, some insights. And then from there, we're going to do a Q&A and I'll answer some questions. And so I may as well just get started into this. Now, the title, it's interesting. When I was coming up with the title, I had a couple of other things that I wanted to use for the title, but then I settled in for "You're doing an amazing job in life." Because when I was sitting with kind of the themes about what's going on with our lives, that's what really came to me. When I took my own ego out of it and I stopped trying to sound cool with the title, actually at the most higher consciousness level, that was a title that really resonated with me for what we're all going through in our journeys. Iris says she can hear me. That's great. Great to see you, Iris, as well. Perfect. So anyway, I took my ego away out of the picture. I stopped trying to sound cool and I just came from truth. And the truth was the truth that came to me, and the message I'm here to share is that you're doing an amazing job in life. And how little do we sometimes hear that, both from ourselves and our own inner voice, and also those around us. We often don't hear enough loving compliments, and yet it's the thing that can transform our entire life. Especially when we start learning to give these compliments to ourselves. That can change everything. That can elevate you to the highest levels of awakening into your own divinity just by loving yourself. Bit by bit, of course, each day. So for me, it's a bit like climbing Mount Everest. It takes a while, but you step, all of a sudden you start getting to heights with this, heights within your own beingness, where you start feeling more connected to your own loving nature, loving yourself, and love as a whole, and you can radiate that to the world. So anyway, I settled on this title, "You're doing an amazing job in life," and I'm going to elaborate on why that is. I'll just say hi to a few people. So we got Feriel. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Hi, it's great to see you. And if you guys want to drop any questions about spirituality, I'll be answering those in a little bit after a few more updates. But it's great to see you here. And so coming back to this idea that you're doing an amazing job in life, what really was attached to this theme was the idea that unity is rising. Now, when I kept hearing that phrase repeated to me, unity is rising, it almost made me feel a little bit off, like a bit squeamish, like that can't be. Because even if in our own personal lives we have been feeling a little bit more unity being birthed within us, we can look around the world and see it doesn't seem like unity is there. And that's why I kind of felt a little bit off about even saying unity is rising. Because we do look around the world, we do see a lot of division, and we do see a lot of chaos. And so who am I? Who is this guy sitting here with an oversaturated white jumper on? Who does he have the right to say unity is rising? By the way, I'm trying to get the color to go down, but this is a webcam and it over brightens everything, and then the sun is shining in on the window and I can't sort of get a balance of natural light without everything getting a little bit washed out when the sun comes up from behind a cloud. So bear with me if it's super white. It hopefully will go behind the clouds and look a bit more natural in the lighting. But when I heard the word unity is rising, I sat with that a little bit more deeply. It suddenly made me realize it's not really necessarily talking about what we see or what we're told around the world. And maybe it even is, if that resonates for you. Maybe you have seen some unity around your family dynamic or around your community or friendship group or something like that. And you can say, actually, I am seeing a lot of unity. That does resonate with me in an external sense. But I suppose when I'm talking about unity is rising, it's more within yourself. It's like there's a deeper healing energy that's been activated within us, almost like from source or God or grace itself, if you will, that's seen the state of the world and the chaos that's kind of unfolding amidst the world. And it's then almost given people on a healing journey, on a spiritual journey, light workers, and really anyone really, because we're all connected, we're all one, we're all from the same source. So really this applies to everyone. But some will definitely resonate with this more than others. But it's like to balance out the current fear and negativity and chaos and turbulence of the world, it's like a new door has opened from source to us all and said you are now safe to actually anchor in even more unity within yourself. And so this is what you may have been experiencing in your life. Maybe you've had a recent breakthrough in healing, or maybe you feel that that's about to happen. And that actually relates to the second point I wrote down, which is you may have experienced a lot of pain in the past and even recently very active within you. I know I have. But that not only is unity rising within you, but that your courage throughout your entire spiritual journey and life journey will be rewarded very soon. If not, I'm sensing right now, there's some kind of reward that will be taking place in your life. And it's this leap forward into unity. And this is why you are doing an amazing job in life, because everything that you've done has never gone to waste. Every little effort you've had to pursue your dreams and your highest healing journey and to be a beacon of light in the world, it never has ever gone unnoticed. And there is going to be rewards spilling into your reality and especially within yourself as you feel that unity rising within you. So I'll keep going in a second. I just want to check in with a couple of things. A couple of other people have joined. Thank you for being here, everyone. So I lost my train of thought. Well, I'll share how this arose with me. So as I've now found in my journey, I have been on a healing journey, an awakening journey for many years. I've had many mystical experiences of oneness with the source and divine love and everything like that. But the funny thing is, just like you, I'm still healing, often radically so. And I found that actually getting on these live streams where it's an unfiltered me and I'm kind of just speaking off the cuff, I don't know what I'm going to say, and it's out there for the world to kind of see. And I wanted that. That seemed like a really great challenge. But what that brought up to me earlier over a week ago now was this solar plexus pain in my solar plexus chakra. Now I feel my third eye is quite open. My root chakra and things like that feel quite flowing and things like that. I've had a love come out of my heart chakra and that feels like it's still healing, to be honest, but like it's these energies of unity and alignment are flowing to some degree. I've got a long ways to go. But one of my struggle points has always been the solar plexus. And so this recent episode of pain for me was actually coming into awareness of a past life in which I was killed. And I kind of felt this solar plexus pain. And this is over a week ago, right? I felt this pain. I thought, I don't recognize this. I don't recognize the voice I'm listening to that's attached to this pain. Probably because it kept saying, I was killed, I was killed, I was killed. I'll say that flippantly. It was actually quite overwhelming to hear it. When I first heard that, I went, oh wow, this is coming from something from a past life. It must be. And then as soon as I acknowledged that, I felt a relief. And I've been healing that part of me ever since. And I mean, for the past week. But you can radically heal, right? So I've made big progress on it even in a week. And no doubt you've experienced this in your own life as you start awakening more and more. Everything moves faster. What you can manifest is faster. What you can attract in, who you become, you're constantly evolving. And you can't, you lose even the motivation to keep track of it. And you actually realize I'm meant to just be surrendered into the flow of expansion. That is the point. That is all that Source ultimately is infinite expansion. So I'm just here for the ride to experience that. But coming back into this sense of healing this part, this is when I realized that something opened up, and it's definitely going to open up for you, or if not already has. It's like this new part of me came into my awareness that I needed to heal only because a gateway had opened in which a part of me, all parts of me, were actually ready to step into that new gateway. And inside that new gateway is a unity like never before. And that's what I kind of felt. I kind of healed this point of pain within me, and I was really feeling it, and sitting with it with unconditional love. In fact, I went so deeply into it, and I said, just tell me whatever you need to tell me, and I will listen to every word. You will never faze me. You will never scare me away. I will never abandon you. I am absolutely committed to you, and I'm sorry I actually never knew you were inside of me and a part of me until very recently. But that's going to change, and let me demonstrate that to you, and take all the time you need to tell me all your pain until you're ready to come into the unity that I am, that all is. So together as one, we can actually awaken into love, and that can be the permanent frequency we live from. So I said things like this to myself, and then I noticed on Wednesday there was a healing click in my solar plexus, and the energy settled. And I went into my sessions that week with my beautiful coaching clients, and I felt it was like a flowing energy there, and I realized the gateway had been opened. And then I got that message that that's actually true for everyone. And as I was sitting with why this gateway opening for us all, for the light workers and spiritual beings to step into a greater version of themselves, of alignment, peace, to actually embody their best self and therefore create their best life. Why is it opening now? And what kind of, this is more me now, this didn't necessarily come from an intuitive insight, but I kind of got the sense that it's to definitely, I once read, let me back up, it's to kind of counterbalance the chaos of the world. And it's actually, and the chaos of the world itself is actually a sign of ego in its rather turbulent process of healing through that friction. But because there was a rising of this egoic healing playing out collectively, it then, within the people that are ready for it, is allowing that gateway to open of unity to counterbalance that. It reminded me of when I used to read about the Dr. David R. Hawkins books. And he used to calibrate pretty much every living thing, or non-living thing, even though everything's the same life force. But everything has a level of consciousness or frequency attached to it. A rock, a certain person, a certain enlightened person like a Jesus is 1,000 out of 1,000, or a Buddha, 1,000 out of 1,000 on the level of consciousness at the heights of what's possible for your vibration frequency to be at. And the interesting thing about the scale of consciousness is that it goes up an exponential curve. So we have low frequencies like fear and apathy and grief, and that's a very slow vibratory state we can be in. But as we get faster and faster and we start going up to love, joy, peace, bliss, enlightenment, it starts going up a curve. And so the more this unity is opened for us all, and that permission from Source is given to us all to actually step into that next level of healing and higher vibration within ourselves, more and more people step up that curve. And as I said, it's like kind of like going up Mount Everest. The higher you go, the more beautiful your vantage point is, and the more powerful you are. And I can't remember the exact scale, but usually, one truly enlightened being, now that's not me, I'm far from that, but say one truly enlightened being, the force field of their energy, or the field of consciousness that they exhibit and exude and radiate, is enough to counterbalance the millions of people in lower frequencies and lower vibrations in their own fields. It's how consciousness works, and the field of consciousness counterbalances itself like the yin and yang. And so I got this sense that my own theory, if you will, is that we're opening up to a greater unity because more of us are ready to not only balance that scale of chaos around the world, but to actually tip it in the favor of light more and more and more, and we're ready for that. So it's a very exciting thing, and it's going to start happening in your life. Welcome that in, because what are we talking about with unity? We're talking about peace, a peace that stays with you wherever you go. And it's not like a peace that floats up like a feather. It's rooted, it's solid, it pervades out. It's a powerful force, like a current that comes out of you, and it is blissfully, well, maybe not blissfully always, but at least very fulfilling and exquisite. and it can expand, and your best self kind of radiates out of that. What to say, what to do in your business, what to do in your relationships. Life becomes more effortless the more we are in the space of unity, because the ego, or the sense of the inflamed separate self that's forgotten its connection to source, that has been soothed into alignment. And so what happens is then the unique soul we are, expression we are, becomes more in alignment and connection with divinity, and then we all move together as one. And divine intelligence, the divine itself, is obviously the infinite source that's creating everything. And so its intelligence is what we merge into and become increasingly one with. And so as that happens, of course it's going to know how to live our lives better than us as mere separate selves, right? As mere humans in a state of fear. Well, no, we welcome in that unity, that peace, that love, and it can start gracing our life. And that's how it's always meant to be. In fact, that links into what manifestation really is to be the certain frequency you want to be, because you're plugged back into the source, and then co-creating your life with the source consciousness together as one, in the point of individuated consciousness you are. And then you go about your life creating from that point of light, love, unity, and power. So it's very great. I'll just check in on who's come in. So Bella's here. Thank you so much. Great to see you, Bella. And Carla. It's great to see you, Carla. I'm very excited to speak with you soon, actually. Very excited. So yeah, and if you guys have any questions, just come in and you can drop them down. And if there are none, well, I guess that's all good too. Then we'll just wrap it up early. All right, so another thing that feeds into all this stuff is that you may, this journey in the human form, this awakening journey that the soul goes on through as it evolves and expands, can be very turbulent. So just as I'm saying there's unity, you may not be resonating with that, and that's okay. My heart goes out to you wherever you are in your life. But what I can say to you, and again, this may not resonate with you either, so if it's triggering, or if it doesn't sound true to you, or it sounds like airy-fairy nonsense, new age nonsense, again, that some guy is telling me on YouTube, and what does he know? I get that, I totally get that. And just take whatever resonates. But what I did sit with more and more is that everything, and I think this is a Matt Kahn quote, everything is here to help us. So even when we feel very disconnected from unity, and our life situation isn't reflecting that, and we feel a desire to step into more purpose, and we feel a desire to have an intimate relationship come in that isn't there, we feel lonely, we feel conflicted and in fear within ourselves and all this stuff, that's okay. You can never get your life wrong, and you're never going to be doing it wrong and therefore attracting in bad things. That's not how the universe works. That's a very 3D way of looking at it. That simply is not true of how the soul sees life. The soul you are, the beautiful soul you are. How the soul sees life is everything is coming into my reality, and gifting me with the next experience I need, the next lesson I need, and the next catalyst I need to actually step into a better reality and a better version of me, in which I'm increasingly more happy, more aligned, and more at peace in every way. That's how the soul sees life. And so if you're seeing things around you and you feel like unity is far, what I would invite you to simply consider is perhaps unity is close. Perhaps your pain, perhaps your challenges, perhaps all of it is actually a sign that you are on the highest aligned path possible. And that if you just keep holding on, if you just keep moving forward with the courage that I already know you have, everything will just part ways for you. And that is the point. So even if you're not resonating with unity is rising, or you even feel I'm not doing a good job in life, that's okay. Those voices are actually a sign of what's healing within you. And whatever's in your life that's giving you challenge, that's actually a sign of what's gifting you with that lesson of evolution into your next best version of self, which equals your best life. I'm not just saying this as kind words. This is something I'm experiencing in my reality, and I'll give you a personal example now. So I'm telling you about there's healing experiences coming in. There's a greater space of unity that we're being invited to step into to help the whole planet awaken into its next collective space of love and unity. those are definitely happening, and that I've experienced that within myself, as I was saying. But then it was interesting because amidst this new space of healing, which I went, wow, this is incredible. I never even knew it was possible. I never knew I was blocked in this way, and now it kind of feels like a relief. Wow. Then you won't believe what I attracted into my reality. It was actually my birthday on Sunday, and I play in a local basketball league with some friends, and I love basketball. If you don't know that about me, I'm a huge fan of the NBA and LeBron James. I don't follow a team, I follow LeBron James. Wherever he goes, I follow. And I've loved basketball since I was a young boy. And so I was playing in this basketball game on the weekend, and I went up for a shot, and I kind of jumped up. And this is on my birthday. I just turned 27. So on my birthday, it was quite a peaceful day, and nothing of note really happened on my birthday, and that was fine. But I was at this basketball game. I jumped up, and a guy came up to defend me, and he put his legs underneath my landing space, and my ankle landed on his foot and badly twisted out into excruciating pain. Now, if I was in the old 3D way of looking at it, I'd say, what am I doing wrong to attract in something bad into my life? I must be doing something wrong in my thoughts, in my vibration. Something's wrong. Oh no, I'm attracting bad things. And then we spiral down. But you know what my response was amidst the excruciating pain? Because I was banging on the ground. It really was some of the worst pain that I've had. I'm in crutches right now. But you know what came to me? This must have happened for a really amazing divine purpose. That was my intrinsic response. Now, I didn't necessarily feel pleasure in the pain. I'm not at that point. I never know how people do that when they talk about getting surgical procedures and teeth out without feeling pain. I'm not at that point. I very much feel pain like a regular response in that way. But the perspective that accompanied that pain was, this must be a divine gift. And I did hear a popping sound in my ankle. I don't even know what it is yet, by the way. I'm still going to the doctors to get it diagnosed. But I felt if it's bad, I could be out for weeks, not being able to walk and things like that. And knowing that, with my history of sort of ankle injuries in the past, playing sport when I was younger, I kind of knew I might be out for several weeks. I might not be able to be that active. I might be on crutches. I kind of knew all this stuff. And yet I was thinking to myself, what have I done right to attract this in? What blessing is this in my life? And as I actually put in some music, because we had to wait for the game to finish before I could leave the stadium to get some treatment. But as I was sitting there, I put some music in, some healing music, and I met with the pain, and I was listening to what the pain was telling me, and what the message behind, the divine purpose behind me rolling my ankle in this way was. And the divine message I got immediately was, we want you to be even more focused on your divine purpose. I went, oh. Now, that's not to say I'll never play basketball again, but it's just to say we want you. It's a very energetic space. It's a very highly intense atmosphere. As an empath, it's quite overwhelming, and there's a lot of ego around there. In fact, a guy the other week kind of hip and shouldered into my ribs and really hurt my ribs, and I could intuitively read him and how much pain he was in. And how he was taking out his aggression. I kind of took the brunt of that. And so being around ego, the density of people that bring out that kind of aggressive side in sport is certainly something I not condemn or think is bad, but something that I feel I want to not put myself in as much as possible. I mean, who wants to be put in situations, if they can help it, in which people are being aggressive and violent and venting and angry at you in all these lower vibrational spaces of ego? We want to try and not avoid it in the sense of saying it doesn't exist and bypassing it, but just saying, no, I'm worthy of doing things that cultivate more love and light and peace in my life, be that with people and activities and everything in between. So I was kind of getting a sense that basketball can have a very amazing atmosphere of celebration, of fitness and health and vitality and sportsmanship and teamsmanship, if that's a word, but also had this bit of ego. And so I was sitting there in this pain, and it was that part of me that said, we want you to separate out of the intensity of that to really focus in on your path, your divine purpose, your alignment, your highest space of awakening and consciousness. That's what we want you to focus on. And I immediately went, there's the divine lesson. And it felt so intuitively, immediately downloaded into me, received by me, and then it just resonated completely, and I was at peace with that. And then I sat with that pain, and another interesting thing happened is that I was in such excruciating pain that I was sitting with it, knowing it was a divine blessing, but still could hardly bear the pain in my ankle that was surging up my body. It was bad. But I was sitting with that until I got so intimately with the pain, and I actually let it expand and said, I want to love you. I want to love whatever is happening in my reality, because that's love. That's unconditional love, right? So I was sitting with that pain, trying my best to love and accept it. And then I realized, it suddenly hit me that there's nothing inherently bad about pain. It's just what is. It's just an experience. And as I dissolved into a peace, and I took my personal biases out of that situation of, oh, my ankle's in pain, I'm in pain, this is pain, even labeling it as pain itself, and rather just let that all go into a peace. I just saw pain as that, an expression that was arising, and I could see it from a higher vantage point of love, of just lovingly accepting it. And I was in that space, even able to somehow, almost from sort of an outside point of view, even my awareness, so to speak, that was aware of the pain, almost that started radiating a peace into the pain. And so suffice to say, how this relates back to your life, why I'm going into such detail about it, is that everything's here to help us, and everything has a divine purpose and a positive lesson in it, and it's helping us uncover unconditional love and our own strength and our own courage to move forward with those lessons within us to actually manifest what we want. So everything's in that way here to help us, and you can only get your life right. And again, this connects back to why I'm saying you're doing such an amazing job in life. I'll just check in the comments. Oh, Scratch joined. That's awesome. Great to see you, and Emilio. I was reading these comments. Okay. So I'll see if there's anything else to say. And then I might actually wrap up a little bit early today, because I'm feeling quite a lot of good stuff's come up, and so we might not do any question and answer stuff too soon. I may save that for another time. So a final couple of points. I wrote, the veil is thinning. We're balancing. The best way to heal is to balance the masculine and feminine. And if you feel kind of a subtle anxiety in your life, or a strange sense of fear, it's because you're getting used to a new frequency that you're living in. And I was talking to my brother about this, and he's sort of working on his purpose and things like that. I certainly am always expanding down my purpose. And there was a sense that, and a couple of people told me, another one of my best friends told me this as well when I spoke to him on the phone, that they both had kind of an insight, a sneak preview of their dream life. And it felt somehow closer than ever before. And that kind of brought up this sense of excitement, a little bit of peace, and a little bit of fear. And that's just because of progress. So if you're feeling that in your life, it's because of progress. It's because you're moving forward to something desirable that you want. And it's an amazing thing. So you're moving towards an amazing reality, and you're actually subconsciously picking up on that new energy of expansion you're in, and you're getting used to it. And you'll always get used to it before anything crazy unfolds. So you have all the time in the world, but that can be what's happening. So we're getting used to new frequencies. That was that point. And balancing the masculine and feminine, this is the way to heal. So I'll just quickly talk about what I realized this is all about, is that the divine feminine, and we all have a bias on which side we come on. I'm sort of biased towards the divine feminine a little bit. Oh, maybe I'm quite balanced. Yeah, I do use the divine masculine healing approach too. But it's to realize that when you're healing yourself, to use both energies. I'm not talking about gender, by the way, or anything like that. We're talking about the energy of polarity that the universe is comprised of, those two counterparts, the divine masculine and feminine. So the divine feminine radiates love. So it's really important when you're healing, you unconditionally radiate love to a part of yourself without trying to change it, just soothing it, just as a parent, or in this symbolic imagery, a mother hugs a child to just soothe it without trying to change it. So it's really important that you're allowing parts of yourself in pain just to speak, just to express, while you just radiate love unconditionally without trying to change it. And then you kind of have to use that nuance to then bring the divine masculine in. So this is the part that lovingly provides wisdom and guidance. That's how I see it. And so this is the part that once a part of you is soothed, helps that part of you that's feeling more soothed by the divine feminine unconditional love to then see the wisdom that they don't need to be afraid or that they're okay. And what that often looks like is actually taking a certain fear and kind of analyzing it under that beam of wisdom and saying, for example, if I was, I'm afraid of getting on YouTube, say that used to be a fear of mine. The divine feminine goes, I love you, it's okay. It's okay. And then the inner child says, well, the inner teen self or whatever it is, a past life self says, I'm still afraid. You say, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Love, love, love. Now the divine masculine thing goes, let's look at why you're afraid of YouTube. What are you really afraid about? It says, for example, maybe I'm afraid of judgment of others. I'm afraid of failing. Okay, so what happens if you're judged by others? And it's picking it apart and actually guiding that part of you through kind of a logical process, a masculine guidance into the root thing, which says there's nothing to fear. And so it's important to in your own way, find that balance between the two energies to really heal different parts of you. And that's what I do very intuitively is I radiate love and then I kind of deconstruct ideas so as to show parts of me that I'm safe. So that was an insight that I found, is that we're actually not meant to be, we're actually, how would I phrase it rather? It's a sense that the balance is best. Balance is best. No one's better than the other. Masculine and feminine need each other, and they are connected to one another, forming the totality of the wholeness of the source. So whatever degree you find resonates for you, invite both practices in your life. If you want to work with me, we do this in coaching all the time. We find healing processes and modalities and guide you through limiting beliefs, etc., using what I intuitively feel is best, and then obviously we get your feedback as well. But it's this practice of inviting both into your life is just very powerful. Oh, Max here. Great to see you. And Michael. It's great to see you, Mac. And finally, the veil is thinning. I'll wrap up on this point because there's a lot to digest and I've been rapid firing. So the veil is thinning. When I usually heard that, it kind of was an intimidating thing, like, where is it thinning to? What's on the other side of that veil? But what I mean is that in the planet Earth, in the 3D paradigm, we're ruled by fear and separation, and that's a very thick barrier. And when we're in that, we're totally trapped in that bubble that's very dense, and we can't see the light. We can't access the spiritual dimension within us. But how things are now is that the whole planet's speeding up. We're awakening more and more. And so that veil that separates us between our spiritual self, between our best life, between these higher vibrations and energies, and of course with the source itself is thinning. And so that means that we actually can more effortlessly ascend into alignment. And we can actually truly feel the radiance of that source come into us to close up any sense of separation, any gap within ourselves, or any fear, and can actually radiate into that and potentially, for all of us, one day dissolve that veil entirely so that we are living, breathing, embodied, awakened divine expressions. And that's it. And then we can celebrate our life and go about celebrating our themes and experience and awaken further in ways we choose. But the veil is thin, and what that means is joy is closer than ever before. Manifestation is faster than ever before. Things are more possible than ever before, and we're almost being invited and pulled into a greater unity. Again, if you're just joining, this connects to a kind of theme of unity is rising, and I kind of threw a few caveats out there if you feel that's not the case for you, so perhaps rewatch all of that if you're just catching that endpoint there. So I'll answer maybe one question. So we see Emilio is here. Thank you for being here, everyone. Can I ask you if you believe in destiny? Or are we all together creating new possibilities and nothing is decided yet in the spiritual world? This is a very hard one for the logical, linear, analytical mind to understand. It's something that only happens when you move into a non-linear space of awakening, in which all divisions collapse into a oneness, and in that oneness is a certain different perspective and insight in which paradox makes sense. And so when division becomes unity, and I've contemplated on free will versus determinism in that space of unity, or rather had the intention to contemplate it, then got into a space like that and then received the insight. How it actually works is that everything actually happens. Everything is one with the source. The source is infinite possibility happening in an eternal space of nowness, timelessness, if you will. Although that seems a bit void of love, because what I'm trying to convey to you is the most beautiful, joyful love you can imagine in this space. It's like, I'm complete, celebrate, right? And in that celebration, it's a total, complete, yet ever expanding experience. There's no beginning, no end, and yet it's total all the same. And we find ourselves as individuated expressions of this source, and in the intelligence of this source, in a seeming linear experience. That's how our mind, the ego mind, or rather the linear logical mind, perceives the world. And so we can't grasp our connection to that source. I certainly can't all the time. We start very far away from it, and that's the point, because we're returning to that unity as the purpose of life in a nutshell, of oneness with the source, and becoming radiant points of its love. But so we start with a linear, logical, 3D kind of mindset where that says, are things determined, or is there free will? If everything it seems to be complete, whether you say that with the source or whether you say it outside the spirit world before we incarnate in as souls, whatever way you see it as, it's the sense that did I decide before I came here? Did someone else decide for me? Is my higher self determining things for me? And what level of free will do I have, if any at all? Especially when you get into those neo-Advaitin teachers, when they say there's nothing here, you don't exist. And never really liked that at all. Never resonated with that at all, to be honest. You do exist, you are here, you're a divine expression of love. That's how I see it. Of course, I do see what they're pointing to as well, so not to disparage any teachings. But my point being is that this is not a logical linear answer, and that the truth is that everything's possible and that all things exist simultaneously, including both the possibility that you have the most satisfying level of free will to create your life. And notice how that makes you feel. Perhaps it's a good expansive feeling. Well, then trust that. I can create my life. But if there's other things that have come into your reality that you start blaming yourself for manifesting that because I have free will and I must be creating everything. Well, then that's where you can investigate a bit deeper and say, actually, all things are possible. There's no reason, paradoxically, that my higher self couldn't be also manifesting things, or certain other levels of dimensions of myself could have placed that into a timeline before coming into the earth as a certain soul theme to heal. But what I realize is, as long as the end result, or however you decipher it, results in a sense of satisfaction, peace, love, goodness, beauty within yourself, whatever way you decipher it at the linear level of thinking, if it results in that energy, you're getting closer to the truth. And ultimately, imagine that energy expanding such that thought is not possible, but you're in just a space of that energy cascading outwards, extending outwards infinitely, so to speak. Well, not really so to speak, but actually, there's no possibility to actually think about it in that way. Or there is, but it doesn't concern you in such a way. You're too busy enjoying the radiance of what you are, the completion of what you are. And that's really the truth. And that's when I can sort of come back and draw off those experiences of oneness and peace and divine love. I can sort of draw off them and realize the question, I can see why it seems relevant, but it's also kind of whatever you resonate with wanting it to be. That's going to help you feel more connected, safe, and aligned with your best life and creating that. And so to summarize all that, true simultaneity exists. That's what the law of one also says. If you can wrap your head around that, you can start to make peace with the paradoxical sense that both free will exists and also there is a higher plan for your life that sort of you're evolving alongside, co-creating together as one. So that's my answer. So it's a bit of a complex one. Can you make a video of walking at the park close to you, but it makes us feel like it's us walking? Like a point of view shot. I need the nature. Thanks, Scrat. It's funny, I just watched First Man with Ryan Gosling, that film, and I had a lot of point of view shots of him in space and getting off on the moon, and I love that because it did feel so immersive. So it's interesting how that's it's interesting how that has come up. Oh, thanks, Emilio. Emilio saying, I believe some of that way too. Thank you for answering that. You're welcome, Emilio. It's my pleasure. And whatever you believe, I love that you're backing yourself, because ultimately I'm not telling you anything as an ideology of this is how it is. I'm more encouraging a spirit of discovery of the alignment of what's true for you. And hopefully that can be conveyed in that. The last thing I want to give is dogma. I want freedom within you, autonomy within you, for you to be your own high source of guidance and wisdom and awakening, because that's how powerful you are and we all are together. And besides, I'm still learning as well, so who am I to give that kind of give fixed ideas when I'm still evolving myself and a student of life just like anyone else. So anyway, so back to that point of view shot, what I will do is I'll start getting more active on Instagram. So what I'll do is actually leave a link for that. So you can actually follow me on my new Instagram. I just started that this week, or very recently. So it's just there for anyone that wants to see it. That's my Instagram, and I'll be posting more regular content to that. So that's an idea I can post when I go on my daily walks to the parks, to the beach, etc. I'll be sure to do some more stories to involve, give an more intimate perspective of my life, and also that connection to nature. That sounds like a great idea. All right, everyone. I think I'll leave it there for today. Thank you so much for being here, and I really appreciate your presence. Be sure to keep your eye out on my content. I'm going to be going live regularly, also doing other updates as well. Leave me a comment on this video, as I love hearing from you, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for all your open-mindedness, because I know some of these are very wacky, woo-woo, new age ideas that have taken me a lot of open-mindedness and courage to also believe myself, or rather open up to. So I really appreciate you being here and for your open-mindedness. And if you're here together in this community, it's all about love and awakening into love and perfection that we are, and discovering that within ourselves. So thank you for being on this journey together. So I've said subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. You can check out my reality shift cheat sheet in the comment section below. This is a resource guide if you're going through a spiritual awakening, a healing journey, you're manifesting your desires, you want to know how to shift all of your life basically into a more aligned, positive direction. You can get that resource guide below. And finally, check out my one-on-one coaching. I've had a few applications come in. If you're watching this and I haven't got back to you, I apologize for this. I'll be getting back to you soon. But check out that coaching at the link below. We can have a session together if you want support on your own spiritual journey, how to manifest things, how to heal, and just guidance and empowerment support for you and whatever you're at with, wherever you're at in your path. You can check that as well at the link in the description below. Anyway, thank you everyone for being here. Appreciate you so much. And sending you peace, sending you love, and saying goodbye. Oh, a couple of people come on, so I'm sorry I couldn't answer your question. Hi Lynn, thank you. Hopefully I'll be able to answer these questions next time. And hi Victoria, great to see you, and hopefully we'll be able to speak next time I go live. But thank you so much for being here. And see you Scrat, and see you Emilio. Bye everyone. Bye.